Right, how does the cohesion style of the group affect the style of leadership? Does the size and level of the group have an impact? The size of the group influences the leadership styles in groups. Participative leadership styles require the leader's individual attention to each member and consulting with them before taking decisions. The higher the group size, the more difficult and time consuming this becomes. I got that from Bright Hub PM. I also believe the size and the quality of group influences the style of leadership. This is seen with the season's current Chelsea group, which was overly sized, where they even had to expand the dressing room, which ultimately led to the sacking of Graham Potter, as he was unable to cope with the size of the group and the big egos.
Do you think anyone would be able to cope with that group size?
No, I don't think so.
It was so difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from point made earlier on about Steve Cooper at Nottingham Forest. I think they had 22 players brought in the early parts of the season.
I do, but I think the egos aren't as big in Nottingham Forest. So
that's it. Yeah. Cool, go on, Karen.
And then the big egos being left out of the match day team causing problems behind the scenes, which he was unable to manage and cope with. And then how does leadership style change when in different stages of group development? I've said your leadership style would have to change when at different stages of group development. Forming in the beginning, when a new team forms, individuals will be ensuring the team's purpose and how they fit in, and whether they will work well with one another. They may be anxious, curious, or excited to get going. However, they feel they will be looking to the team leader for direction. This would require an autocratic approach to a coaching and leadership style. Storming autocratic would be best suited for this stage for teams. The conflict often arises due to clashing working styles between the team members. Some people may start to even doubt the team's goals discussed in the earlier stage and will start performing.
Or might doubt who. Or might doubt who.
The leader.
The leader. Yeah, good.
Where was that? This has a negative and stressful effect on those who keep up the hard work, since pre-established group processes no longer function smoothly. An example of this would be Mikel Arteta. As soon as he joined Arsenal, he made sure the phones were banned to create a socialising group, and as he noticed the group weren't interacting a lot around the training ground and outside. Then norming, democratic would be best suited during the next stage of Putnam's theory, which is the norming phase. This is when the team moves past their previous quarrels and begins to recognise and value their teammates' strengths. During this stage, team members increasingly respect those who are in the leadership roles. Now that everyone has begun to bond and familiarise themselves with the team's processes, teammates feel comfortable giving each other constructive feedback as they work towards accomplishing new tasks. And then the last one is performing, which laissez-faire would be the best for the performing phase, which is the happiest of all stages of development. In this stage, your team performance is at an all-time high. This performance level means all team members are self-reliant and confident in the problem-solving skills that they can function without the oversight from the leaders and is overall the end of the process. Then how does a successful leader develop cohesion in a group? And I've said team cohesion is important for several reasons, including better communication amongst the team members, a heightened ability to achieve objectives and goals, a decreased need to micromanage a team, freeing up time for managers, a positive working environment, increased satisfaction among employees who were part of the cohesive teams. And I've got that from Indeed.
Nice.
A successful leader like Pep Guardiola develops a group's cohesion as he gets the players to believe in his style and management and create togetherness within the group each year when new players join the team.
Well, yeah, because I think a Man City team or the Man City team is buying different players each season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, each transfer window, new players. Yeah, pretty much guaranteed, isn't it? So What's going to happen to the team every time a new player is brought in?
Well, they have to go over the group development again.
Yeah.
And try and catch up.
With that being said, you've said that Pep Guardiola has his way.
Yeah.
So is it down to the team to go back into forming, or just a singular player going through the stages very quickly?
I think it's for the player to go by themselves and try and catch up a bit quicker, but Guardiola would help them.
They would do. So I'm looking at two different players in the Man City setup here. I'm looking at Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Akanji.
Yeah.
Which player has gone through that stage way quicker, right?
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips took his time. Who also took his time?
Grealish.
Yeah. And now look at him. Eventually now Jack Grealish is in the performing stage because of the way in which Pep Guardiola has embedded the cohesive aspect of the team. And you can see how it's brought up on success eventually. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
And then I've said this can be seen with Man City's two strikers, Haaland and Alvarez, where Pep Guardiola's had to kind of get Alvarez to accept that he would be the backup option.
Nice.
Where he's subbed on partway through the match. But Pep has managed to keep the cohesion within the group for even his substitutes to be happy, as they believe in his leadership qualities and have respect for him as a manager and his decisions. But even Alvarez coming off the bench, you can see that he's confident with the team cohesion as he's coming on and scoring.
Yeah, automatically, yeah. I believe that's a good point. Yeah, go on, Karen. Nice, good work. Therefore, is there any social loafing in Man City, do you think?
No.
No. Go on, let's go on then.
And then how does the leader prevent the Ringelmann effect and social loafing? What techniques might they use? Social loafing is a psychological concept where people in a group setting tend to be less productive and apply less effort towards the group's goals than they typically are when working independently.
Yeah.
A good leader may use different techniques such as creating clear assignments, providing group members.
Is that a dig cam? Is that a dig live on camera? Do I not set clear assignments?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Providing group members with straightforward directions can help them establish goals and manage their workflow more effectively within a team.
Yeah.
When you delegate tasks within a team instead of relying on the group to self-regulate, you can instill a sense of accountability in each team member. And then another one would be increasing supervision. Providing more supervision to the group can encourage them to maintain their productivity and effort when working in the group setting. Reminding people of their performance expectations, tracking metrics, and checking in with them about their contributions can help keep them on track with their productivity. And then another one would be providing individual recognition. One of the major causes of social loafing is that people lack individual motivation to contribute to a group. Try recognising the accomplishments of individuals on the team. When someone completes a particularly difficult task or helps someone else on the team, publicly acknowledge their contributions. And I also got that off Indeed.
Yeah, I can see it's got a business spec to that.
Yeah.
When you're talking there, so maybe let's try, and if you are getting me stuff like that, let's try. Nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
And it reads increasingly true in terms of if you go and give players accountability, they're likely going to be taking that full on in there and doing a lot of hard work, aren't they? If you set clear assignments, clear tasks to a player with clear structure, then the players aren't going to be confused. They're going to know what they're going to go and do. Now, if they start to underperform, it's not due to them not trying, it's therefore their capabilities, and therefore they can be looked at being resigned from there. So what you're saying is completely and utterly true.
Yeah.
Just be aware that's from a business perspective, not from a
sport. An example.
Why don't you think of one then? There's tons that come to my mind in regards to that.
For recognition.
Yeah. So
well,
did you watch yesterday's match, Man City versus Chelsea?
Yeah.
Did you watch the celebration
of the title?
Yeah. What happened? What was all the build up there? I noticed something very important, that they did it in numerical order. And number 3 is Ruben Diaz, and they were like, "Oh, welcome to the thing." That both the goalkeepers, and then John Stones. I was like, "Hang on a second, Ruben Diaz is number 3. Where's Ruben Diaz?" And Kevin De Bruyne and Carl Walker. Where were all those players?
Towards the back.
Why?
because they were like the main leaders within the group.
So they were held accountable for their roles in the group. Yeah. So therefore, then do you think that helps with team cohesion and limits social loafing?
Yeah, I think you could also say Chelsea giving them the Guard of Honour, which is like acknowledging their achievements of the season.
Yes.
And then, which personality theories are linked to effective leadership? Trait theory is linked to being a good leader, as the trait theory suggests certain people are born leaders with their personality type. Trait theory of leadership is a concept that suggests that leaders have a certain personality traits and characteristics that influence their effectiveness across different situations. It is based on the idea that leaders are born with their natural abilities that differentiate them from non-leaders. It is one of the oldest theories of leadership. Another theory is the situational theory of leadership. It is a model that proposes that leaders should adjust their style to the task, the group, and the environment. It is based on the two main variables, task behaviour and relationship behaviour. Situational leaders aim to maximise employee potential and organisational performance by adapting to the competency and commitment level of employees. Situational leadership is not dependent on the skills of a leader, but on their ability to look at cues and apply themselves. Apply different leadership styles as needed. And I got that from Very Well Mind.
One thing I am going to suggest is that when looking at these bits here,
Yeah.
you've got to go and throw me in a sporting context. So take away the business context, add sporting context.
Yeah.
Carry on, if you're doing it verbally. I want that to be taken out, and when you hand it back in again with your video, I want that to be seen in there. Okay, I'm putting it here. Okay. Nothing's wrong. I just want there to be sporting style in there.
How does confidence, self-concept, and self-esteem affect leadership? This links back to Graham Potter's time at Chelsea, where he was confident within himself to take on such a big job in his career.
Cool.
And he believed through his self-esteem and self-concept that he could make the jump from Brighton to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Which he was proved wrong and resulted in all of those to be knocked after the results didn't go his way and kept on getting worse as his confidence is getting worse and worse as results he kept losing, and had to take himself away from the media for a while, as he was rarely being spotted out in public after his recent sacking.
Yeah, so Graham Potter started off with having a high level of self-concept, having a high level of self-confidence for sure, right? And therefore, with that, having high level of self-esteem, and therefore he believes he's good enough for the job. This is why he took it.
Yeah.
As results went against him,
yeah.
those three factors started to diminish,
yeah.
and therefore the leadership style, the impact of his leadership, what was going on there?
Well, you could see that he lost the dressing room and he wasn't very confident on the sideline.
Yes.
When he was the camera was on him, you could see that he was always asking for advice off his other coaching staff, as he wasn't confident in what he thought and what he thinks he should do to the team and the tactics.
Yeah, started to spread the blame a little bit more. Yeah. Okay.
And then, what are the effects and types of motivation? Example, extrinsic and intrinsic effective leadership. Extrinsic motivation is defined as motivation to participate in an activity based on meeting an external goal, getting praise and approval, winning a competition, or receiving an award or payment. Intrinsic motivation is defined as doing of an activity for its inherent satisfaction rather than for some separable consequence. Intrinsic motivation comes from within, whilst extrinsic motivation arises from external factors. When you are intrinsically motivated, you engage in an activity because you enjoy it and get personal satisfaction from doing it. When you are extrinsically motivated, you do something in order to gain an external reward. An extrinsically motivated leader would be Cristiano Ronaldo, as he was massively driven by trophies and tends to only focus on himself and what he's achieving within his sport, and always driven by money. An extrinsically motivated leader would be Lewis Hamilton, who is an intrinsically motivated leader would be Lewis Hamilton, who is always driven by support of the crowd and the fans, which he always mentions during his interview after races and how they're motivated to succeed in carrying racing. And then the last one is how does stress.
Hang on, so let's go over it. So yes, so albeit we've corrected it now. So Ronaldo being your extrinsically motivated leader, and therefore Lewis Hamilton being your intrinsically motivated leader. I want to know from your perspective, who would you rather be led by? Someone who's intrinsically motivated to succeed or extrinsically motivated to succeed?
I think extrinsically, because I think it gives you the best motivation, and like you can, with them being so successfully driven by like winning trophies, and you can like gain their mentality from following them and seeing them as a role model. So I think it would improve your performances personally.
If I was to critique you and go and suggest that, what happens if that success doesn't come quickly? Are you then going to have that same leader there season to season?
No, because I think you've got to like switch it up every so often, which.
So does that mean you? So, go on. I'm seeing where you're going to go with it.
Oh, I was going to link back to Chelsea with sacking and swapping managers all the time, which is sin. Under Abramovich, it was really successful.
Was it?
Yeah, because they won the most trophies in England during his time.
Because of the high sack rate? Because so Abramovich being the leader.
Yeah, I think it was because of all the sacking firing.
Do you really think that was the reason why?
Yeah. Well, and
Abramovich. Who's got Abramovich? Chopping and changing. So you believe Chelsea's success came from Abramovich's leadership in the chopping and changing? If it didn't work, get rid of him.
Yeah, and also with that, do you remember Mikel, the CDM?
Yes.
Yeah, he said there was like everyone was like scared of him because they knew every time his helicopter flew into the training,
something was going to happen.
Something was going to happen, and they were going to get sacked.
So, is that a good way to lead? Is that not going to cause stress, anxiety, and therefore heightened levels of arousal?
It does, but then if you're not capable of taking on
the task,
then I don't think you're suited to play for them.
Interesting, because I would negate what you're saying here and go and say that surely the most celebrated club teams in England are Man United and now Man City, and that's because where Man City's sheer level of success has come from is having Guardiola. He's been there for 4 years now, 5.
No, it's been there
3.
No, it's been there longer. I think.
It's been there longer. I think 6 seasons.
6 seasons.
So 6 seasons.
5 times.
And multiple other domestic cups. Yeah. Sir Alex Ferguson has for 19 years, and he won multiple trophies. Yeah. Chelsea in their Abramovich's reign of 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Have they won as much as Man United in those 19 years? Have they won as much as Man City have won in those 6 years?
I think so, yeah.
Have they? Or proof. I need to add that to your work, or proof of that. Give me that, because I mean, I'll argue with you, but I'm not arguing you're wrong. I'm arguing my point just for a bit of conversation. Yeah. Go on, carry on. So we've got stress, anxiety, and arousal. So we've led that. We realised that Roman Abramovich, when he was at Chelsea, would strike the fear of God into all managers and coaches and players when he flies in. Is having a high level of stress, anxiety, and arousal as a leader going to have a positive or negative impact on players, on performance even?
I think could do if you think your like role within the team could be potentially getting competition when the transfer window comes around. So
competition, transfer window, end of season. We know that we're going to talk about the hype and new manager bounce coming in. That's terminology I've nicked from you now. Yeah, that could aid performance. Good. What about if a leader is stressed? What about a leader is anxious? What might happen then?
The leader's anxious.
What have you got down?
Well, I thought we were still on about the last question.
Keep going then.
Well, I'm on the next one now, but I said stress, anxiety, and arousal can significantly impact leadership style, as they can alter an individual's emotional state and cognitive processes, ultimately affecting their approach to leading the others within the team. Here are some ways stress, anxiety, and arousal can impact leadership style. Stress can negatively impact decision making. When under stress, leaders can experience cognitive overload, meaning their processes become overwhelmed. This can cause them to make hasty decisions that can do more harm than good, which could potentially be game costly if they make the wrong decision. And then anxiety can lead to micromanagement.
Yeah.
Feelings of anxiety can lead leaders to excessively control and micromanage, being intolerant of even the smallest mistakes. Fear of failure can cause them to resort to making every decision, disrupting their freedom.
I'm looking at Arsenal last season with Arteta being all over the place. Did you watch the All or Nothing of the Arsenal one?
No, I've seen clips of it.
Yeah, but how micromanaging he was. He was like just all over the shop. So that could be a good link there to go and put into work for me.
Yeah. But arousal.
Yeah. Okay, what else?
And then higher arousal can lead to aggression. Leadership roles typically require high levels of energy and excitement, but this can translate into aggression when arousal states are too high. High arousal can lead to emotional volatility and being unable to control outbursts, which can result in a disrespectful or abusive leadership style.
Yeah, again, have a massive negative impact on performance, correct?
Yeah.
Who, in your opinion, at the moment, is in a perfect apart from like what you mentioned before? Let's say we go for complete random. Who is in the optimal level of arousal, and therefore, as a coach, as a leader, as a manager, their players having a great turn up.
I was going to say Klopp, which you can see with his recent ban.
Yeah,
he gets over aroused and went and celebrated in front of the fourth official.
Yeah,
and got himself banned.
Yeah, and therefore that added.
And then that'll cost Liverpool top four because he's not able to manage them properly.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, up until that point where he was in an optimal level, Liverpool were playing brilliantly. Came to the point where what game was it where he got told off? Wasn't the Villa game, that was yesterday, wasn't it? So
it was against Everton when they scored that last minute winner with Jota.
Oh, okay. And what he got?
No, it was against Tottenham. And
then he went bonkers. Yeah. So yeah, a heightened level of arousal and therefore incorporating stress into that.
Yeah.
Obviously, negative connotations of him and his leadership style. If he keeps his calm there, maybe he can have a far more greater impact. Good. Yeah. Right. So verbally, you've offered me good examples. You do need to make sure that you are